The shadowy corners of the ancient world, behind closed doors and in hidden chambers, secret societies flourished that would make modern conspiracy theorists weep with envy. These weren't your typical religious gatherings. They were exclusive mystery cults that promised their members forbidden knowledge, spiritual transformation, and access to divine secrets that could never be shared with outsiders. From the blood-soaked underground temples of Mithras to the terrifying initiation ceremonies of the Great Mother, these ancient secret societies shaped the spiritual lives of everyone from slaves to emperors. Some promised eternal life, others divine knowledge, and a few offered power that could topple governments. The penalty for revealing their secrets? Death. And remarkably, for over 2,000 years, almost no one broke their oath of silence. Today, we're pulling back the veil on history's most secretive religious organizations. We'll explore their bizarre initiation rituals, their forbidden teachings, and how they influenced everything from early Christianity to modern secret societies. These are the stories that the ancient world tried to keep hidden forever. Our journey begins with perhaps the most famous mystery cult of the ancient world, the Eleusinian Mysteries of ancient Greece. For over 2,000 years, from around 1500 BCE to 396 CE, pilgrims traveled from across the Mediterranean to participate in these sacred rites that promised something revolutionary, guaranteed immortality. The mysteries centered on Demeter, goddess of the harvest, and her daughter Persephone, who had been abducted by Hades to rule the underworld. This myth of death and resurrection became humanity's first organized promise of life after death, available not just to heroes and kings, but to anyone who could undergo the sacred initiation. The process began with the Lesser Mysteries in Athens, where candidates underwent purification rituals, including ritual bathing, fasting, and animal sacrifice. But the real transformation happened during the Greater Mysteries at Eleusis. Initiates would walk the sacred way, a 14-mile procession from Athens to Eleusis. Along the route, masked figures would shout obscenities and insults at the pilgrims, a ritual humiliation designed to break down their old identity before spiritual rebirth. The climax occurred in the Telesterion, a massive hall that could hold 3,000 people. Here, in complete darkness, initiates witnessed the most sacred revelation of the mysteries. Ancient sources describe seeing a great light, hearing sacred words, and experiencing visions that guaranteed their souls salvation. What exactly happened in that hall, we may never know. The penalty for revealing the secrets was death, and remarkably, in over 2,000 years, no one ever broke their oath. Even famous initiates like Plato, Cicero, and Marcus Aurelius took these secrets to their graves. Modern scholars believe the climax involved a dramatic reenactment of Persephone's return from the underworld, possibly enhanced by kykeon, a sacred drink that may have contained psychoactive substances. Initiates literally experienced death and rebirth, emerging transformed and no longer fearing mortality. The influence was profound. The concepts of personal salvation, divine grace, and spiritual transformation that would later become central to Christianity were first systematized at Eleusis. While Eleusis welcomed both men and women, our next cult was exclusively male and attracted a very specific demographic: Roman soldiers. The mysteries of Mithras became the unofficial religion of the Roman army, spreading throughout the empire wherever legions were stationed. Mithras was a Persian-origin deity reimagined for Roman military culture, a god of contracts, cosmic order, and solar power. The central image of the cult showed Mithras slaying a cosmic bull, releasing life force into the universe through this primordial sacrifice. Mithraic temples, called Mithraea, were deliberately built to resemble caves, often underground or carved into rock faces. These cramped, dark spaces could hold only 30 to 40 people, creating an intimate, claustrophobic atmosphere perfect for secretive rituals. The cult was organized into 7 grades of initiation, each with increasingly severe trials. The progression was Corax, Raven, Nymphus, Bridegroom, Miles, Soldier, Leo, Lion, Perses, Persian, Heliodromus, Sunrunner, and Pater, Father. The ordeals were designed to test military virtues. At the Miles level, initiates had their hands bound and were led blindfolded to an altar where a sword was held to their throat while they swore sacred oaths. They were then branded with hot iron and had to leap over fire pits while wearing full armor. The Leo grade was perhaps most terrifying. Initiates' hands were smeared with honey that they couldn't wash off, attracting insects. They wore lion masks and were subjected to mock hunts through underground chambers, testing their courage and endurance. The highest grades involve complex astronomical knowledge. Advanced initiates learned that Mithras was not just a god, but a cosmic mediator who controlled the movement of souls through the planetary spheres. This knowledge gave them power and status within the cult. Mithraic rituals included communal meals, where participants shared bread and wine in ceremonies that remarkably paralleled early Christian practices. The similarities were so striking that early church fathers accused Mithraism of being a demonic parody of Christianity. Not all mystery cults focused on salvation or military brotherhood. The Dionysiac mysteries, centered on the god of wine and divine madness, offered something far more immediate and dangerous: complete spiritual liberation through ritual frenzy. Dionysus promised his followers freedom from social constraints and access to divine ecstasy. The cult was wildly popular, but also deeply controversial because it challenged the very foundations of Roman social order. Initiation began with ritual madness. New members joined nocturnal gatherings in forests, consuming wine mixed with psychoactive plants like henbane or mandrake. Participants worked themselves into frenzies through wild dancing, drumming, and ecstatic shouting. Women initiates, called maenads, were said to gain supernatural strength during these states, capable of tearing apart wild animals with their bare hands. The climax involved sparagmos, the ritual dismemberment of a living creature, usually a bull or goat, representing Dionysus' own death and rebirth. But the most radical aspect was social inversion. During gatherings, slaves could order masters around. Women abandoned domestic roles, and all normal hierarchies were suspended. This temporary chaos was seen as a return to the golden age when divine and human realms were united. This revolutionary nature made the cult extremely threatening to Roman authorities. In 806 BCE, the Senate brutally suppressed the mysteries throughout Italy. Thousands of participants were executed after accusations that the gatherings had become covers for political conspiracy and murder. The crackdown shows how seriously Roman authorities took the threat of secret societies that promised to overturn the social order, even temporarily. Perhaps the most extreme initiation rituals belonged to the mysteries of Cybele, the great mother goddess, whose cult spread from Asia Minor throughout the Roman Empire. These ceremonies pushed human endurance and devotion to their absolute limits. The cult centered on the myth of Attis, a shepherd who was both Cybele's lover and adopted son. In a fit of divine madness, Attis castrated himself and bled to death under a pine tree, only to be resurrected by the goddess's power. The most shocking ritual was the taurobolium, a blood baptism involving bull sacrifice. The initiate stood in a pit covered by a wooden platform with holes drilled through it. A bull was slaughtered above, and the candidate was completely drenched in blood, believed to wash away sins and grant spiritual rebirth. Even more extreme was the ritual practiced by the cult's priests, the Galli. During the spring festival called Hilaria, these men would castrate themselves in imitation of Attis, using sharp stones or pottery shards. The severed organs were thrown at Cybele's statue or wealthy Romans' houses, who were expected to provide clothing for the new priest. Archaeological evidence confirms these practices. Cybele temples contain curved knives, ritual vessels for collecting blood, and votive offerings shaped like male genitalia. The self-castrated priests lived as women for the rest of their lives, serving the goddess in a third gender role. The cult attracted followers from all social levels, including emperors. The promise of spiritual rebirth through blood sacrifice was so powerful that many underwent these extreme ordeals willingly. Initiates who survived were considered reborn for eternity, a concept that would influence Christian ideas about baptism and spiritual transformation. On the Greek island of Samothrace, another mystery cult attracted the ancient world's elite with a unique promise: guaranteed protection from drowning and shipwreck. The Kabeirian mysteries, dedicated to ancient fertility deities called the Kabeiroi, offered practical salvation in a world where sea travel meant death for many. Famous initiates included Philip II of Macedon, who met his future wife Olympias during the ceremonies, and later the Roman Emperor Hadrian. The promise of protection at sea made this cult especially popular among merchants and travelers. The initiation involved 2 degrees. First came myesis, which required confession of sins to a priest, revolutionary in a world where most religions didn't emphasize personal morality. This psychological cleansing created a profound spiritual experience. The second degree, epopteia, involved a dramatic reenactment of divine murder and resurrection, with the initiate playing the role of victim before symbolic rebirth. Archaeological evidence shows initiates received iron rings placed on their fingers as permanent proof of membership and magical protection. The sanctuary remained active for over 1,000 years, making it one of the longest-running mystery cults. The influence of mystery cults on early Christianity cannot be overstated. Core Christian concepts, salvation through divine sacrifice, spiritual rebirth through ritual, eternal life promises, and exclusive faith communities, all have clear parallels in earlier mystery religions. Christian baptism resembles mystery cult initiations, particularly the blood baptism of Cybele. The Eucharist, with its consumption of divine flesh and blood, mirrors Mithraic sacred meals and Dionysiac communion rites. Early Christian communities adopted the mystery model, small, secret groups sharing hidden knowledge. The emphasis on personal salvation, divine revelation, and soul transformation echoes mystery themes throughout. Even Christian terminology shows this influence. The word mystery itself comes from Greek mysterion, meaning secret rite, which early Christians used to describe their own ceremonies. However, Christianity revolutionized these concepts. Where mystery cults were exclusive and expensive, Christianity offered salvation to everyone. Where cults required elaborate ordeals, Christianity promised immediate salvation through faith. The legacy continues today. From Freemasonry to modern spiritual movements, ancient mystery cult influences persist. Secret handshakes, initiation degrees, sworn oaths, and promises of hidden knowledge all trace back to these ancient religious societies. The psychological needs they addressed, belonging, transformation, hidden knowledge, and assurance about death, remain universal human desires that continue to drive spiritual seeking. The ancient mystery cults represent humanity's eternal quest for meaning beyond the ordinary world. Through elaborate rituals, secret teachings, and promises of transformation, they offered something civic religion couldn't provide: a personal relationship with the divine and hope for life beyond death. While their specific practices may seem extreme today, the spiritual hunger they fed remains as strong as ever. The secrets of Eleusis died with their last priests, but the human search for mystery, meaning, and transcendence lives on in countless forms. From underground temples to hidden teachings, from blood sacrifice to promised salvation, these ancient cults remind us that the desire to touch the divine, to transform the self, and to glimpse what lies beyond death has driven human spirituality since the dawn of consciousness. The mysteries may be lost, but the mystery continues. Thanks for watching this exploration of history's most secretive religions. Like and subscribe for more hidden histories, and let me know in the comments what other ancient secrets you'd like uncovered.